Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday night, and you know what that means. We have got a great volleyball doubleheader coming up for you here at Rally Point, live in Southeast Calgary. Coming up first is on the women's side of the ACAC here, as we're going to have the 2-1 SAIT Trojans taking on the 6-0 Lakeland Rustlers. Coming into the season undefeated. My name is Brett Levkowski. I've got the call for you here tonight. Joining me here tonight is my good friend Brendan Donald. Brendan, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Brett. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. It is, like I said, it's Friday night. We got volleyball action coming up here live at Rally Point. I've been doing this a few times. It's your first time here covering the Trojans, and I got to tell you, Brendan, you're in for a real treat.
Yeah, no, I'm really, really excited to watch this game. Obviously, Lakeland coming in tonight, 6-0, have not lost a set. They have been perfect this season. And you know what? It's going to be a nice little test for the Trojans today, who are, again, 2-1 right now. So it's going to be really exciting to see if SAIT can come in tonight and finally take that O away from Lakeland and, maybe take a upset tonight.
Absolutely. These Rustlers coming here visiting from Lloydminster, making the long trip out here to come visit us here in Calgary. They came off last year where they lost in the finals to Red Deer Polytechnic, so they are on the revenge tour looking for that ACAC title, while the SAIT Trojans just still looking to get some of that chemistry going that they have been unable to really find at times in this season, as there's a lot of new players on this team.
Yeah, and you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing to have a bunch of new players. Brings in an infusion of youth. Yes, Lakeland might be a little bit more experienced, obviously, with all that playoff, but having young players is a really nice thing to have because they can start to grow and you can start to build a foundation off of that.
Absolutely right. We are going to send it down here for the the starting lineups here for both teams coming up here in just a second, as well as your national anthem.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not quite at the player of the game yet.
Getting ahead of myself here, Brendan. I believe the Trojans a little late getting these starting lineups out here to our PA man and our good friend Ethan Montague.
Yeah, both of us are kind of sitting up here going, okay. But now we got this going.
right, and it looks like we are just about ready to get going here. Live at Rally Point, and for these Trojans, like I said, getting chemistry going to be a huge factor for this team, and it's going to be really great for them having both Elia Falcone and Leanne Arnott both back in the lineup as they missed the last home game that they played against the Rattlers here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be nice to get that infusion back.
Absolutely, two of their more seasoned players, of course, with Arnott being a fourth-year player.
Played really well in the preseason.
Absolutely, and definitely good to get that veteran leadership here back in this Trojans lineup, and they are going to need it, as on the other side, the 1-2 punch of Varga and Lang are going to be really hard to beat. Varga leading the league with 58 kills already in the season, 4.14 per set, which is ridiculous numbers.
Those are elite numbers.
And on the other side there, number 5, Jana Lang, she's the one setting it up. 150 assists so far on the season already, 10%.
Yeah, one thing that I want to see from obviously this Trojans team is they know coming into this game that Lakeland has not lost a set. So they can't get discouraged if they start off to a slow start, and that was a really good opening to the game.
And you love to see it. Sophia Ferguson getting things underway here with the ace, taking a little speed off of it and just tripping up the libero, Trumeyer.
And you know what? That is a really good start to the game. Nice way to build some confidence.
Absolutely, but then the Rustlers coming right back, and guess what? It's Lang to Varga once again, off the hands and down for the point.
Yeah, that is a dangerous duo right there. That's something that SAIT really has to make sure that they slow down that unit as best as they can.
Kaylee Leck there with the serve, the native of Regina, Saskatchewan, the fourth-year player. Off the hands, off the other hands. Big save by the Rustlers, staying alive. Second chance now. Peebles unable to put it away. Big dig, and the tricky play there from Falcone, finding the open space.
Yeah, Lana Matthews of Lakeland making that absolutely amazing save there. Unfortunately for them, SAIT doing a really good job at just controlling that pace and, you know, slowing it down, making sure that they can find that opportunity to really get that one home.
Absolutely, Falcone with the good serve there. That one's gonna sail long. Trojans up to an early advantage. Brendan, you think the travel here for the Rustlers is gonna play a factor early on?
It very well could. Obviously, Friday students here, but they have to make that travel, and that's a long drive. And you know what? It is always tough coming in, playing a game after a long car ride. And you know what? Maybe today is the day when it just comes a little too much for them.
Absolutely there, as that one did find inside the line for the point. Another service ace for the Trojans.
Varga doing a really good job there, getting that tip in. You know, on the third point for SAIT, I want to go back to this. Varga came in with a lot of heat off of that hit, and just a little bit too far, maybe taking a little bit more off of it, but you know what, did a really good job there switching up the speed.
Yeah, of course, and these Rustlers, of course, having to make the trip down here to Calgary in less than ideal conditions with these snowstorms that have been hitting Alberta here. Big save there by Lang, saving it, but it's going to be the other way now. Through the middle, Peebles denied at the net.
Bates did an amazing job there, just getting her hands up and just being able to bat that one down. Really good job there by the Lakeland player.
Absolutely, Bates standing at 6 feet, an absolute tower at the net. 4-3 now here, early in this opening set. It's sent out wide, Arnott plays it brilliantly, finding the back line for the Trojans point.
Yeah, Arnott put that in the perfect spot. It was either going to be a point or it was going to go out. So that is exactly what you were looking for right there. Perfect spot.
Coulter now with the big serve and a nice dig. Come back the other way. And guess who?
Yep. That was just an absolutely beautiful. Varga doing a great job there, going up against Corkery, just not able to quite get that one. And here we see Varga now on the serve.
Takes it from way back and trips up the Trojans there as it was Bartol and Coulter getting their wires crossed.
Yeah, Varga, again, like what you said, takes that really far back, maybe trying to get that little bit of an angle there. Obviously, she's going to have to run really far back into the play, but really good placement there.
Absolutely. She takes it from far back. She's able to get a good angle on it.
Gets a little bit more speed from there, but allowing herself to get that placement with the speed and the power.
Yeah, absolutely. As Coulter sends that one long. And don't look now, but here come the Rustlers, finding themselves now up 6-5 early in this first.
Obviously, one thing that the Trojans want to do right now, obviously, they've allowed the Wranglers to get a little bit back in, but that you don't want to get it too much into your head. Obviously, having that perfect set streak that, Lakeland is on, just trying to make sure they find a way. Timeout.
Yeah, Coach Lamont going to have to take an early timeout to settle down this Trojans team. Started off hot, but now have dropped a few points here in a row. I believe four consecutive points.
Yeah, and one of the big things here is knowing this is a really, really skilled, tough team, not allowing that pressure of knowing what is on the opposite side and just trying to slow the game down. And I think that's what Coach Lamont wants to do, is just to slow it back down and just allow his players to slowly start to refocus, because they did start off really, really hot. Now it's just trying to get back to that.
Yeah, Trojans just really got to try to settle down and find some consistency off those serves. Trojans ranking dead last in digs per set at only 9.08, excuse me. So they really kind of have been struggling on that defensive end, getting down low, keeping those balls in play, and it's been showing as we've got Varga on a bit of a heater on serve here.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, especially for Varga right there, making it really, really tricky, especially going really far back, which is allowing her to add that speed, add that power, and allow that, just getting that really good placement that she wants. So that's going to be a struggle point for the Trojans today.
Trojans down 2 here as we get going. Bartol saves it, but it goes right over the net. Opportunity once again. Big block by Bartol, huge dig. Coulter off the hands, kept alive. Another opportunity, tipped up, denied at the net. Good rally here. Arnett, and what a dig by Varga, showing she can do it at both sides. Free ball. Corkery can't get anything off that missed setting attempt, but Bartol again keeps it alive. What a rally we've got going on. And Coulter's kill attempt goes straight into the net. Both teams battling.
Both teams are starting to get tired on that one. You could definitely see it, but good job defensively by both teams. One of the things that we looked for in today's game is seeing the Trojans get a little bit more on their defensive side, and you know what? That rally showed that they can definitely do it.
Absolutely, but they are in tough here against a very, very good team here from Lloydminster visiting us here tonight. Free ball opportunity, and a nice tip over there by Bates.
That was beautiful. She looked like she was going to come in for the kill with a lot of heat, and just nice, gentle touch, moving it and changing the pace of it a little bit. That's exactly what you need to do, especially when you've shown that you have that heater.
Rustlers now up 4, 9-5. Corkery goes off the hands. Great defense once again by Lakeland. They got to send it over for a free ball. Going to be set up by Falcone, and brilliantly put away by Peoples off the hands.
Yeah, Falcone, nice shot there. Made it really, really challenging for Lakeland not to be able to really get that dig and set something up for their team.
A crucial point here early on in this set as the Trojans now find themselves just stuck 3. Peoples taking that serve from way long. Having to get down low for it was Trumeyer, and it works out for the Rustlers, who put it away for the point.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do, especially when the Trojans are right up at the net. You got to put a lot of heat on that and really, really put the pressure on them to bounce it and get in a good opportunity for themselves.
Hopefully here with Ferguson back in the game for the Trojans, they'll be able to pick something. They'll have a better presence at the net, but not there, as that point is very, very cheekily put away by the Rustlers.
Yeah, Bates doing a really good job there, again, at switching up that speed and doing a really good job at just kind of tricking and almost baiting the Trojans into an ill-advised defensive situation.
Arnett sends that one into the net, and just like that, Trojans down 6.
Yeah, after starting so hot, they just haven't been able to really get back to that momentum that they started with.
9 of the last 10 points going the way of the Wrestlers. Tipped over. Nice off-speed play there from the Trojans, desperately getting one back as they look to keep pace with this incredibly well-oiled machine that is the Lakeland Wrestlers.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a nice little way to slow the game down, because that's one of the things that we always talk about when you're going up against a really fearsome opponent, is slowing it down and really just trying to make them play your game as opposed to you playing theirs.
Going up and over. Nice sliding save there by Arnett. Corkery denied at the net, though, by Bates.
Really, really good job there by Bates. Again, just getting up there and just putting a block and making it really, really difficult for the Trojans to get that dig and get that opportunity to show some good defense. Great job by Bates, who is now serving.
Bates with 7 blocks already coming into today on the season and already adding to that. Ferguson with a nice kill going deep. Bates unable to handle that one as the battle of the 6-footers. Ferguson gets that one.
Yeah, and you know what? That's another thing that the Trojans need to kind of look at, putting the ball in weird spots for Lakeland, because changing up the pace and trying to slow it down is great, but you have to play against them and try to put them in a situation of not being really, really good defense. But that was an absolute heater coming into the Trojan zone there.
Oh my goodness, Matthews with the put away. Nothing whatsoever that the Trojans could do on that to put the lead back up to 6, 14-8.
Yeah, Matthews now on the serve after that big hit there.
And a huge serve. Controlled by Bartol. Sent out wide. Coulter off the hands. Trying to keep it alive, but unable to is Lang, and that is a point for the Trojans.
Yeah, again, going back to like what we were saying, Trojans need to start putting that into some weird angles, try to really make it get in an ill-advised defensive situation for Lakeland. They did that on that opportunity. They need to keep trying to get those angles.
Coulter picking up where she has left off this season. The former Western Mustang leading the team in kills. Miscommunication there from the Wrestlers, and it drops, gifting a point to the Trojans, who now find themselves 2 in a row.
Yeah, and now that we're starting to get a little bit more even play here, Trojans, they don't want to try to get this too much of like, okay, now we're starting to get it. Continue to play this slow game and try to keep some really, really good pressure on them.
Big denial, but it just sails wide. It looked like it maybe caught the line, but no go for the Trojans. Wrestlers get a point back, bringing the lead back up to 5. 15-10 here in the first set at Rally Point.
Yeah, that was a really good save by them, by the
The Wrestlers.
Wrestlers,
yes.
Thank you.
Going down this near side. Missing that one was Peoples, and coming the other way are the Wrestlers, and able to put it away is Sarah Hogue.
Yeah, Arnett just not necessarily in the best spot to try to get that dig, but you know what? That was a tough one. That'd be a tough one for anyone.
Absolutely. The Wrestlers are doing a great job of being able to put those kills into very difficult positions. A very experienced Wrestlers team here. Just got to be sent over by Coulter, but she sails it way long.
Yeah, Coulter just putting a little bit too much heat on that one. A little bit of a weird angle she tried to hit that from. Maybe might have been a better idea to try to set something up, or at least try to get a little.
Well, it was their third hit.
It
was. They had to just send it over, but she was just trying to send it deep. But
yeah.
Either way, Trojans down by a touchdown here early in this one. That one gets a nice little kiss off the top of the net and drops for the ace for Kaylee Lewick. The 4th-year player from my hometown, Regina, Saskatchewan. Looking for that friendly kiss once again, but this time denied. That one's gonna drop for the service error, and a point for the Trojans.
Yeah, and you know what? The Trojans really needed that. Again, the momentum started to get a little bit away from them, and so for them to kind of get that little bit of a gift of a Lakeland, unfortunate, but
big denial there by Arnett. Kept alive. It is sent over. miscommunication from Falcone and Arnott, and the Trojans there looked to have won that point, and then thanks to some brilliant scrambling defense and a little miscommunication, the Rustlers take that one up 8.
Those are the types of things that if you're the Trojans and you're behind currently, you really do not want to have happen, just because it's just one of those things coaches really don't like to see, just those small mental errors.
Yeah, absolutely. There, a big defensive play coming now is Bates. She's denied big time at the net. Huge D by Arnott and Peebles.
Coulter here now on the serve.
Huge serve, eats up the defense. Nothing. Absolutely.
There was a lot of heat on that one. That is exactly the type of thing to help build that momentum and build the confidence of this Trojans team.
Nothing Matthews could do on the defensive end of that one. Coulter's gonna need to go on a big service run if she wants to help this Trojans team get back in. Set up down that far side. Kept alive by Coulter.
Good save by Coulter on
takes
that
it
one.
off speed. And a brilliant play there by Varga, going off speed, sending it up and over the defensive hands of the Trojans.
That's exactly what Varga needed to do. She knew exactly what she was going with there. So nice little switch up, beautifully done.
Very composed play there from the third-year student. Bartol let it go, and it catches the back line. And
that was definitely a tricky situation for Bartol, but it might have been one of those ones she wants back.
Yeah, you know she's going to want that one back, and Varga continuing to be an absolute menace on serve. Rustlers up 8, 4 points away from the set. That one eats up Bartol. More miscommunication. Coulter's just got to send it over. Free ball now. The set from Lang and the put away from Hogue. And this Rustlers team doing what they've been doing all year, and that is dominating.
One thing that I've seen from this set so far is they've just been able to control the pace. They no matter what, once it starts to slip a little bit away from them, they slowly start to get it back, and they make the Trojans play their game as opposed to the Trojans trying to play theirs.
And unfortunately, that is going to be one too many touches for the Trojans. Coach Lamont got to take a timeout here. Down 10 right now. Rustlers only 2 points away from the set, Brendan.
Yeah, and you know what? The way the Trojans started this set, they looked so confident. They looked so cool, calm, and collected. And one of the things that I talked about is when you have a team like the Wrestlers who are just so good, one thing you don't want to do is start to lose confidence and just try to build off those little wins. And right now, again, slowing the pace down. Obviously, we've seen a timeout earlier when it started to get a little bit away from the Trojans. Maybe this can help start to reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Trojans, it's a long game, you know, and this, like we said, this Rustlers team haven't dropped a set once in this season. 6-0 on the year, 18-0 in sets, and I mean, they're an intimidating force here, and even showing up, only bringing, I think, I only saw 12 Rustlers players here make the trip down, but it just shows that they might be a little bit short, but it doesn't really seem to matter for them because they have got such a strong team up and down the lineup.
Yeah, and one of the things that we kind of talked about a little bit at the early stage of this set was maybe the drive was going to be a little bit of a factor here. So far in this set, I don't think it is. They look like they've been no issues whatsoever.
Corkery's attempt there on the kill, gonna go straight into the net. And we got a set point opportunity here for Varga and the Rustlers. Going down the middle, Peebles kept alive by Varga deep. Matthews for the set, kept alive. Second chance here for the Rustlers, going down the near side once again. Trojans kind of getting in each other's way once again, and now they go far side. Bates denied, but it sails wide, and that is going to be the opening set, 25-13 for the Lakeland Rustlers.
Yeah, you know what? tough set for SAIT. But you know what? This is a good opportunity to go, you know what? We did some good things there. We were able to put the ball into some weird spots to kind of really make it tough on this wrestlers team. They just need to keep building off of what they did well.
You know what? Absolutely. And like we said, it is a very long, it's a long match. This is just one set here. It's the 19th consecutive one for the Rustlers as they've started it this season on an absolute mission.
Yeah, and there's nothing more you can really say other than that is just an unbelievably impressive stat there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, but let's see if we start to see some changes from both teams, maybe some new players kind of entering in the match. Me personally, I kind of want to see if we can get some energy from players like Florence and Wallace for the Trojans, the first-year players who have looked quite good at times during the season.
Yeah, you know, another thing that I want to see the Trojans start to do, they seem to get in each other's way a lot, and it seems like it's a little bit of indecisiveness from one player, which is leading to some indecisiveness from another player. So it's just starting to go with a little bit more confidence, going, you know what, this is mine. Players know each other, they feed off each other. You see that one player going in hot on it, you just go, okay, you know what, I'm gonna back up. And obviously these girls have played together for quite a while now. They know the chemistry with each other, and it's just starting to get those small little moments of going, okay, you know what? They can feed off of each other, but that's the biggest thing for this next set that I want to see is just to play with confidence and to try the best of their ability to not get in each other's way.
Yeah, absolutely. And the just those defensive lapses and just kind of taking the ball from each other. It seems like they were getting a little bit frustrated, a little bit down at points in the set, which is leading to just what I'm not seeing any of is communication out on the court. I'm not seeing anyone calling mine. I'm not even seeing anyone calling in or out on the serves. And it just seems like if this team wants to play as a team, like as a healthy unit, just like in any good relationship, communication is key.
Well, and I agree with you. And we look over at the wrestlers here. They're communicating really, really well. And some of these weird angle shots, they're getting it batted and going, okay, mine, passing it. And then they're just doing a really good job at switching up, going from a heater to nice soft touch.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Jana Lang, the third-year player leading the league in assists. Everything runs through her in that middle, and she is doing a great job of keeping the Trojans' net presence guessing by going behind her back, going forward, near side, far side. She's going everywhere. They're keying on Varga, but It's other players who are making contributions to this team as well. Players like, of course, Bates, and players, of course, like Matthews, who have been playing very well in this first set. This whole team's played well in the first set.
You know, one player that I was really going to highlight, other than Varga and Lang on that first set, is actually Bates. There's so many good opportunities where she just gets her arms up and she's just able to nice touch pass. She adds a couple of heaters. Matthew with really, really strong, fast kills. And that's something that Trojans have to be mindful of, is there are at least 5 players right now on Lakeland doing a really, really good job. Their balance is not one individual making all the plays.
Of course, and you know, you can't forget about the lady wearing white there for the Rustlers. Trumeyer doing a great job with the digs, and I mean, look at this Rustlers team picking up right where they left off with a service ace coming up from Matthews.
They just seem to have Bartol's area kind of locked in. They've been hitting it to her, and it's just not quite getting into the right spot for Bartol, and that's something that definitely needs to change going forward. Doing a really good job there.
Coming near side here, but denied at the net by Kaylee Lewick, who, you know, it's probably the one Rustlers player we haven't really mentioned their name much at all, and coming up with a huge defensive play, doubling the lead early.
Yeah, and you know, that was just a beautiful block there. Perfect placement. That's really all that needs to be said there, is just perfect placement.
Another big serve. Corkery controlling that one. They go far side, but denied at the net. This time is Arnett, and the defensive presence of this Rustlers team is dominating right now. 3-0 early in the second set.
Yeah, and now that you are down 3-0, it's just making sure, no worries, it's still very, very early. You can easily get this back, as we saw the Rustlers do in that first set.
Just got to keep chipping away here. A huge windup and a serve catching the line for the aces, Matthews. And oh my goodness, 4-0. And this Rustlers team, I mean, it's clear to see why they haven't dropped a set yet.
Yeah, they have been impressive to say the least here, Brett. And, you know, by them continuing to do this, you know, Matthews coming in, just doing an absolutely great job at her serves, putting the Trojans in some really ill-advised spots. Really, really good.
Varga goes off speed, kept alive. Chance now, Arnott.
Arnott just hitting it just a little too hard, tried to angle it in a weird spot and just couldn't quite get it. Trojans down 0-5 or 5-0. It's a tough situation right now.
I think Arnott was aiming for the fingertips there, trying to get the touch for the point, but still blanked here in the second set are the Trojans, down 5-0, but they finally get one there as Matthews goes big on the serve, but straight into the net.
And you know what? This could be a really good moment for the Trojans, is just allowing the wrestlers to kind of get that moment of lapse, to get themselves a little bit of that confidence to get back into this.
But Coulter's serve goes straight into the net, and they hand that point right back.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the things that you do not want to do, is when, you know, the wrestlers who have just been looking on fire this set is immediately given back on your own mental error.
Deep serve there, Bartol able to control it. Trojans getting mixed up again, giving a free chance once again to the Rustlers. Off the hands and long. Another point coming the way of the Rustlers. And this team is just firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, just tough situation for Trojans right now. What do you think they need to do to start getting the momentum back on their side?
Well, I think they got to start inserting some different bodies into this game and kind of just tinkering with the lineup and seeing what works. And they've already done that now as Olivia Dow enters the match for the Trojans. Hopefully can add a spark. Bartol does a good job there. Sends it out wide. Corkery tries to throw it over, but easily stuffed. And then the other way come the Rustlers. No wasted motions from Lakeland. Straight away, off the defense, straight into offense, and no time for the Trojans to respond. And just like that, it's 8-1 for Lakeland.
Yeah, and you know, going back in the intermission for us when we were talking about what we want to see the Trojans do better coming into the set is communication. I don't know about you, Brett. On the Trojan side, they haven't been, they look exactly where they left off in that first set, not communicating well, and Lakeland doing exactly the opposite of communicating really, really well. And after this timeout, if I'm a head coach Lamotte, I want to see them start communicating a little bit better out there.
Yeah, you're right. Like, we see a couple more situations where the Trojans just unsure of who's going to take the ball, and it leads to a free opportunity the other way for Lakeland, and they're going to put those away more times than they're not with how good this team is. And I mean, they've only scored 1 point in the set, and then they proceeded to give it right back off a service error. And when you're playing a team this good, you can't afford unforced errors like that. And Lakeland's just making them pay every chance they get.
They really, really are. And going back to what you're saying about them giving that point back, and they've only got 1 point, it wasn't the Trojans who got that point. It was Lakeland having that mental error of hitting it into their own net. Matthews just not quite getting it over there. So unfortunately for the Trojans, they can't even really claim that they did much to earn that point. It was just an unseen error from Lakeland.
Absolutely right, Brendan. But we're ready to go here once again. Kaylee Lewick on the serve. Corkery's able to send it towards Falcone. She sets it off the hands. And a good put away there by Arnott. Too much on that one. And coming out of the timeout.
That is exactly what you want to see after a timeout. And you know what? They looked more cool, calm, and collected on that one. And you know what? They definitely earned that point.
They did, absolutely. And whatever Coach Lamotte said during the timeout seemed to work. But back-to-back service errors from the Trojans. And that's just not what you can do. You need to string together points consecutively if you want to get back into the set. 2 opportunities and 2 points handed right back to the Rustlers. Up 9-2 now in the second set.
Yeah, and what you don't want to do is allow some of their best players like Lang to get on the serve and just start teeing off on you.
Big defense there. Lee and Arnott coming up big.
Going back to what I was saying, you do not want to allow Lakeland to allow their best player or one of their best players to start teeing off on you on those serves, and they did a good job at getting that switch out quick.
Better defense there from the Trojans. I like it to see Ferguson out there at the net. And a good serve there by Arnett, getting another one for the Trojans. First time they strung together back-to-back points here in this set.
And you know what? This could be a nice building block, being able to get that excellent block and then making that serve. Again, let's see what Arnett is capable of doing here. Back-to-back serves.
Rustlers sitting deep here. Gonna be set, going the opposite way. Good save by Coulter. Corkery tries to send it wide, but that's a free chance now the other way. And getting up, thinking she put it away there was Hogue, but that is a carry called by the chair umpire, and the point goes the way of the Trojans.
And you know what? That's one of the things right now for the SAIT Trojans teams. They just need to have some of these breaks, and you know what? Now we're 9-5, which they've been doing an excellent job these last couple of serves to allow them to slowly start to chip away and get back into this game.
Arnett now with another serve deep. Trumeyer getting into it. Lang goes near side. Doing a good job at the net once again were the Trojans, but this time it goes just out of play for a point. And the Rustlers get one back, which they needed to kill this momentum of the Trojans. Back up 5, 10-5.
Yeah, and again, Varga going really, really deep into that. Last time we saw that, it put a lot of pressure on the SAIT Trojans, and they kind of got a little bit disoriented with it a little bit.
Coulter controls. Falcone goes backwards. Arnett, though, sends that one just into the top of the net and down. Trojans trying to set up. Oftentimes, they're trying to set up from a little bit further away from the net, and it's just not working out at times. And but we are going to get a change here, and maybe a little energy boost, as we are going to see Florence and Wallace entering the match, which I had previously said I wanted to see here, Brendan.
Yeah, and one of the things, obviously, bringing in these two players, fresh legs, maybe the communication starts a little bit. Unfortunately, just not on that one where Corky comes in. Just can't quite get that dig again. We see the Trojans struggle with the dig so far this year. That's not what you want to see at the start.
Yeah, that Corkery just getting a little unsettled there. She was going down for that dig, and point goes for the Trojans. And a friendly kiss off the top of the net for Varga. And when you're lucky, you're good, and when you're good, you're lucky. And that is a free point for the Trojans, for the Rustlers, who are now up 8, 13-5.
Yeah, Varga just doing a phenomenal job. Again, exactly what you're saying, going back. When you're good, you're lucky, and when you're lucky, you're good. Definitely had that one a little backwards there, but unfortunately, Varga is just doing everything right on the serve. And when you have a top player like that, you just do not want them to start teeing off. And now this is the second time we've seen Varga do this.
Absolutely, and that one just too much for Coulter to handle. She tried to. She needed to get in front of that one, try to hit it more of a sidearm, and it just bounced right off the top of her arms and in.
We've seen that a couple times from Coulter today, where it's been not the best angle of a dig or a shot.
Emily Inglis now into the matchup for the Trojans. Ferguson trying to tip it up and over the net, but denied. And the Rustlers taking that momentum straight back, as it was 9-5 at one point. 6 in a row for the Rustlers, 15-5 in set number 2.
Yeah, and again, I think for Trojans right now, one thing that they need to do is get this point back to get Varga off of the serve, just to start building a little bit of momentum back.
Wallace didn't get everything she wanted on the kill attempt, and the other way come the Rustlers, and Bates puts that one aside, and Coach Lamott got to take time out once again as the Trojans find themselves down 16-5 here at Rally Point.
Yeah, and for Varga right now, she's just doing such a good job at putting the ball exactly where it needs to be and making it tricky spots for the Trojans to deal with. Obviously, when you're a player, you're doing your scouting report, looking at the other team, and knowing the Trojans are at the very bottom of the dig success rate, you're going to put that in tough spots, and they're doing such a good job at that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Trojans have been struggling in a lot of areas, and the defensive side is one of them. Only 10th in the league in blocks per set at just over 1. So you can tell that these Rustlers teams have been able to really just take advantage of that. They're able to beat the players at the net, and the back line for the Trojans just can't get underneath them and keep these balls alive.
Yeah, and again, even with some of the substitutions that the Trojans have been making, the communication still hasn't been there yet.
You're right. We're just not hearing enough talking here, but I'm hoping that with a bit of a second unit in the lineup here for the Trojans, Inglis, Wallace, Florence, and Ferguson. A lot of first-year players, but they've proven early on in the season that they have been very, very effective for this Trojans team.
Yeah. Varga now on the serve.
She's been serving for a while. Inglis does get down for it. Wallace off the hands, but it's kept alive once again. And Matthews sends that one down low. Coulter goes for the dig, but can't quite get down on low enough.
Yeah, and at this point, the Trojans know Matthew can absolutely hit a rocket there, and they've just been struggling to counteract that.
Varga again on serve. She's been back there for a while. Bartol has to get down low, and that's going to be another chance here with a free ball. Lang goes behind, Bates off the hands and down, and another point for the Rustlers. 18-5 here in the second set. Utter domination.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Wallace, just not able to quite get the hand placement there. But this really is exactly what you said there, utter domination. You know, we thought we were going to have a little bit closer of a set there when it was 9-5, but pretty much since that point, it has just been all wrestlers.
9 in a row for Lakeland. Good scramble there. And that's one too many touches for the Rustlers, and scramble defense leads to a point.
But now that that has happened, the Trojans really don't need to look at that and go, okay, they did something, now it's our turn. They need to really start proving and getting themselves back into this.
We're going to see our first Lakeland substitution of the game. It's going to be Paige Ziatek entering the match. Third-year player from Saskatoon. A lot of Saskatchewan-born players on this Lakeland team.
Yeah, one thing that we see from Lloydminster, they get a lot of Saskatoon players in there.
Of course, the border town. Big dig there by Haberstock. Great job to keep it alive, but it's scrambled and Bates just throws it down.
Again, a really, really good job by Bates there. You know, again, we talk so much about Lang and Varga. Bates has really been a really good player for Lakeland so far in this game.
Bates might be my player of the game at the moment for this Lakeland team. She hasn't been necessarily the most mentioned person, especially with someone like Varga, but she's played such a solid game, as we have now Grayson Hay in the match on serve for the Rustlers. Good save, but it's another free ball. Lang down the middle. Infraction is called.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying there, Brett, about Bates, she hasn't been making any of the real big flashy plays like we've seen with Varga, but she's been just doing all the right things, which is why I would have to agree with you on that one.
Bartol has to chase that one. Coulter now sends it down low, and that is a beautiful put away from the second-year player and former Western Mustang. Now it's Taylor English, who's also entered this match.
Yeah, let's see what they can do now.
And English a little bit excited there, getting things going before we were ready to go.
You know what, when you're kind of in one of these sets and you start to get a little bit of momentum back, you get a little bit carried away there, but here we see.
Another good serve. Lang gonna send it to this near side. Matthews denied at the net, but it falls out. And that is a point for Lakeland. Now 21-7.
Yeah, Wallace just unable to get the proper placement there, but you know, I would definitely say that's a plus just because they were able to get that block, but just not the proper placement.
Wallace off the hands. More great defense from Lakeland, but a free ball. Florence goes far side. Coulter just sends it long.
Just a little bit outside, but you know, on that rally, I liked a lot of things from SAIT. They were definitely being able to move it, but Lakeland, man, they just have such a good, consistent defense, and that's really what has been winning them this set so far, is they've just played such consistent defense.
Good scramble there from SAIT, but they just got to send it over. Lang goes near side, and Matthews goes big time power and sends that one home 23-7 for the Rustlers. Now just 2 points away from making this one 2-0 and going 20-0 on the season in sets.
Wouldn't that be a stat line?
Unbelievable stuff. It's the redemption tour after losing last season in the finals as they get another one off a 4-touch, and now it's 24-7 set point for Lakeland, who have done a brilliant job of coming here to Calgary and just completely taking the crowd out of this one.
Yeah, and that's one of the questions that we had going into this game is how would they be after that drive? It doesn't even look like, it looks like they came just from their bedroom. And it doesn't even look like they traveled multiple hours to get down to Calgary.
Yeah, you were right there. And even there off the service area, the point for the Trojans, and you didn't really hear much of any enthusiasm from the team. They feel down right now, and they're going to keep battling, but you know they just feel like they're a little outmatched. And that one off the hands, and that is going to do it for set number 2 as the Lakeland Rustlers start to finish absolutely dominate and take the second set 25-8.
Yeah, definitely not having as good of a set as their first one where they were able to get it 25-13. Definitely took a step back here. And one of the things that we talked about in this little intermission that we have is we want to see the communication get better. I didn't see it.
Yeah, not much in terms of communication. And right now, it also just doesn't look like this Trojans team's having any fun. And it's not fun getting beat like this. And but you know, I feel like if you can start to enjoy the game a little more and you can start to talk with each other and just have a better time doing this, things will go better for you.
Without a doubt. And we talk about this in all types of sports. When it's not necessarily going your way, it's trying to build off of small victories because they're in a tough spot right now. Obviously, Lakeland, now this is 20th set in a row that they've won. That coming in 18 sets in a row, you knew you were going up against a tough team. But for this next set, I really just want to see the Trojans communicate better, one thing that we've been saying, but really just try to find the victories in the small areas.
Absolutely right here. And of course, this is just the first of a back-to-back here at Rally Point tonight on this beautiful Friday night in Calgary. We are going to have the second half of the back-to-back coming up for you live here on ACAC TV when these two great schools are going to do it all over again on the men's side. So we're going to have the Lakeland Rustlers taking on your SAIT Trojans in men's volleyball action starting at 8 o'clock tonight here at Rally Point.
That's going to be a fun game to watch too.
Absolutely. Of course, this Lakeland team on the men's side struggling a little bit more, only 2-4 on the year. Whereas the Trojans 1-3 on the season, dead last right now in the South Division. Both teams desperate to come into tonight and come away with a victory and get back into that playoff picture.
Yeah, and you know what it is? One of those situations is when you have two teams that aren't necessarily where they want to be. This is a good game for both teams to start to build that momentum going, you know what? We were able to win this game. This was a game that we were supposed to win, and it definitely helps build that momentum.
Absolutely, and then of course tomorrow night we're going to be back here at Rally Point for more volleyball action on the women's and the men's side. As your SAIT Trojans going to play host to the Keyano College Huskies, also making the long trip from the Northern Division down here to the South, and it's going to be it's a jam-packed weekend of volleyball action here on ACAC TV.
We'd also like to mention that the SAIT Trojans, not only for volleyball, but they are playing an exciting hockey game tomorrow as well. SAIT men's Trojan team have doing a phenomenal job so far this year, where they are sitting at a record of 4-2 going into this weekend, and they've looked much, much better this year.
Yeah, obviously dropping those 2 games to Red Deer on back-to-back nights, but they came back last weekend, won back-to-back against their provincial rivals, Nate, winning 2 in a row, 4-2. SAIT Trojans men's hockey team looking pretty good. But we are ready for third set action here at Rally Point. Sophia Verkesen getting things going. Trumeyer getting down low for it. Lang comes near side, and Varga, oh my goodness, the amount of power she put on that one. Brilliant put away to get the first point.
Yeah, and you know, she was taken out for probably the last five or 6 points in that last set, but now she's back in, gets a little bit more energy into her. she's now fired up.
Inglis getting way down low for that one. Coulter sends that one down the line, and that is a huge put away to tie this one up at 1.
And that's the exact type of thing that you want to start to slowly build that momentum. And you know what? This is the first time in a while that we've seen these SAIT Trojans, once they get a point, they looked juiced up, they looked fired up and ready to go. Good to see that excitement get back in there.
And that serve catches the line, and that is going to be an ace for Elia Falcone. And for the first time in what seems like a long time, the Trojans find themselves ahead 2-1 here in the third set.
And you know what? This is good momentum to build off of.
They let it go again, and again it drops at Elia Falcone, finding that back line. And it's good to see these Trojans ladies with smiles on their faces right now.
And one of the things that you talked about, wanting them to come out and have some fun, we are seeing that now. They are excited. They look happy to be there. Definitely a lot better than what we saw at the end of last set.
Varga denied at the net, but it drops as no player able to support English, excuse me, I had it right the first time. And it drops for a point. 3-2 Trojans now. Lang on serve.
Yeah, one thing that I want to see on this next little bit is now that you had that momentum, don't allow the wrestlers to get back into this.
Arna's just got to send it over. Free ball, going down the middle. Huge dig by Bartol. Coulter denied at the net, but it stays alive, and it's put away by Arnott for a point. And this is what we like to see.
This is exactly what we've been talking about. They're starting to play a little bit better defensively. They're starting to communicate a little bit more out there. We're seeing that, which is really good to see, and they did not allow the wrestlers to get back into this.
Haberstock comes in for Bartol, a huge serve, and a nice dig by Trumeyer. Varga, though, goes off, and English with the old double touch, and it's called a carry by the chair umpire there, and either way, it is a point for Lakeland. Varga went off speed there, but I like what I saw there from the net players of the Trojans, getting in front of that one.
Yeah, showing a little bit better defensively there. They've definitely started to make some adjustments, which is what we need to see.
Coulter has to really reach for that one, and it goes all the way up, right up towards us. Just caught Coulter off guard a little bit, and that is a point for the Rustlers, tying this one at 4. And speaking of 4s, we got number 4 on serve once again for the Rustlers.
Yeah, and the few times that we've seen her on the serving, she's racked havoc on the SAIT Trojans.
And here we go again, finding, it's something about just her height and the fact that she goes from so far back that it comes down at such an angle, and these Trojans players are having such a difficult time reading these serves. She doesn't hit them with a lot of power.
No, and the thing, like the first time Varga went up for the serve, you and I kind of looked at each other here, Brett, and went like, it just, we've never seen someone that far back, which was weird to us to see. Varga only standing at 5'9", so obviously a little bit shorter, but you know, she's making it work for herself.
Hey, she's taller than me, Brendan. As that serve goes long and just out for a Rustlers point. 6-5 now for the Lakeland Rustlers. But, I mean, we completely missed it, though. Varga, she did send that second serve into the net, which was a gift for the Trojans, because when she's on serve, bad things tend to happen for opposing teams.
Yeah, long sets with her serving, which has been really rough, but just a little bit.
That one does catch the back line. I thought it looked a little bit long to me from this angle, but the Trojans get a point, and we will take it.
Yeah, you and me were kind of looking at each other, about to go like, okay, we didn't think that one was in, but you know what? Judges on the floor know better than us, so.
Absolutely they do. Lang goes near side. Matthews doesn't get everything. Nice little tricky play there from Falcone. It is kept alive. Free ball now for the Trojans. And a brilliant put away, but not put away, as it's kept alive. Great defense once again by Lakeland. More scrambling, and finally, mercifully, the point goes the way of the Trojans, now up 7-6.
Yeah, Falcone, I don't know how that one got continued by Lakeland. I actually looked away from the play, as we typically do, look at each other to have the conversation, and look back and going, okay, here it keeps going. So great job by Lakeland, but not able to finish that one off.
Defense has been so strong for this team. Kept alive. Haberstock leaves it for Ferguson, just got to throw it over the net. Trumeyer goes near side. Matthews takes a little bit of speed off of it, but finds the open space.
Yeah, when you throw an absolute heater like Matthews has been doing, switching that up every once in a while, it's really good. But this game, this set so far has just been really entertaining to watch.
A much more competitive third set here. As Trojans look to stay alive, and that is going to be helpful for them as that serve goes straight into the net from Bates. Just mishitting her serve a little bit. Bartol out, Haberstock back in. Trojans serving up 1. And it's going to be Inglis. It's a good serve. Meeting at the net, kept alive. Matthews this time sends it long. Trojans now up by a pair.
Yeah, one thing about that very, very hard serve is sometimes you put a little bit too much heat on there and goes out back of the end.
Trojans already putting up more points than they did the entire second set. 9-7 they are up. Nice play there. Good denial at the net by Coulter off her face. Second attempt. Off the hands and out for a wrestler's point. Great job there by Falcone trying to get into the lane, but a well-placed kill off the side of her hand and out.
Yeah, Matthews at that angle, it's really, really hard to stop.
Love the routine I see here from Matthews every time she serves. Goes through the same routine every time. Look how high she serves this one up. Unbelievable stuff. Controlled though by Bartol, but it's got to be scrambled here and just set long, but just out by Coulter.
It felt like there was a little bit of miscommunication there by the Trojans on that last. Great dig, but the ball bounced a little high, and it felt just like a few players were just kind of looking at it going like, are you going to get it? Are you going to get it? That, again, we go back to that communication. That's where we want to see them go, no, this is me, this is me.
Of course, Falcone here, the setter, definitely trying to be the one to set that one up. Goes behind her back for Ferguson, but a little bit of a mishit, but it's kept alive. Scrambling once again are the wrestlers, keeping that ball alive. Ferguson down the middle, straight into the net for a wrestler's point, who find themselves now back up 10-9 in the third.
Yeah, tough situation there, and obviously the Trojans have been playing such a good set. They just want to continue to build this momentum and not allow the fact that now they're down by a point to really get into their heads.
Yeah, the setting from the Trojans have just been a little bit off at time as that one is sent off the hands and out for the ace from Matthews, who now finds herself on a bit of a heater.
Yeah, doing a really, really good job there on the serves. Those really, really high serves, maybe trying to get the Trojans a little bit off balance here.
The Trojans here stuck 2 in the third, cannot afford to let Lakeland get an advantage here. They go down the middle, and a nice job, but it's kept alive again by Lakeland. But it's going to be a carry called by the chair umpire, and that is a point scored for the Trojans, who get back within 1. And like we said, they can't afford to let Lakeland string together too many points.
Yeah, and when you've been playing such a good set, yes, there's sometimes going to get that cheeky point, but you really want to continue this momentum that you've been able to build, and that's another good opportunity. Lakeland definitely having a lot more mental errors, but the Trojans just looking so much more confident. They look like they're having so much more fun out there.
Ferguson tying this one up at 11 off that big serve, and Sophia Ferguson probably been the best server so far this season for the Trojans. Trumeyer does a good job keeping it alive. Varga denied at the net. Kept alive though, second chance sent well long, and that is a point for the Trojans. Responding with now 3 in a row, getting back in on top in this third set, 12-11.
Yeah, Lakeland doing, again, that just great job defensively, just not able to quite get that inbounds, but great job by the Trojans to not allow them to really build any more momentum.
Good, another good serve there. And that is another infraction there at the net by Lakeland, gifting another point for the Trojans, now up to 13-11, which equals the most points they scored in any set in this match here. And this is clearly the most positive this team has looked so far in this match, as that one is a meeting at the net. Opportunity now for the Trojans, sent out wide. Coulter straight into the net.
That's a tough one, especially when you're starting to build that really, really good momentum there. And but can't allow that one to affect you. Continue to play this style of play because it's working for them.
Bartol now back in for the Trojans to accept the serve. It's coming from Lewick. And it eats up Inglis. She just went a little off speed on it, and it tripped up the Trojans team, and we're back all level at 13 with number 13 of the Wrestlers taking serve. Inglis again, just not sure what she wanted to do on that one, and goes for the set this time and sends it straight into the ground. And another great serve by Lewick.
Yeah, but just a little bit too indecisive on that one. We've seen that now back-to-back going right to Inglis.
Coulter this time steps in front of it. She's gonna get it back, and a great dig, second chance, and it finds the ground, and that is a big point for Grace Coulter and the Trojans, back to 14 all.
Yeah, again, one thing that we've seen from previous sets is that once the Trojans start to allow them to get that momentum, it kind of felt like they started to fall flat. This set, been doing a really good job of keeping their head up.
Big dig this time by Inglis. Coulter just got to send it over. Second chance. Lang gonna go to Varga once again. Arnott gets her hands in front of it, but it's gonna drop down to the court for the point. Lakeland back up by 1.
Yeah, and when you put Varga in that situation, it is a tough stop. Trojans did really all they could there, but sometimes when you just have those great players, no matter what you do, sometimes you just can't stop them.
Inglis made up for a couple of rough plays there with a nice dig, but the point still went for the Wrestlers. Second chance, Inglis. Varga now at the net, clips the line, and it is just unbelievable how a player who can hit it with so much power can still find the court like that.
Yeah, nothing more than what you can really say other than miraculous. Like, when you have these truly elite talent players, sometimes they just make the difference in the game.
That serve is gonna sail wide, and the Trojans get one back.
Yeah, Varga, what can you say? She brings the speed, power, you know, proper placement. It's really tricky to deal with.
Coulter with the big serve. Lang gonna go back to Varga on the far side this time, off the hands of Falcone for the put away and the point.
Yeah, that was just a weird angle for Falcone there. Not much she really could have done. It was a tough situation for her.
When you get a player like Varga hitting it with that much power at you, there's only so much you can do, and just trying to get your hands in the ways.
And I wonder for the Trojans here, maybe they just have never seen a player play that far back. In my time of watching volleyball, I've never seen a player play that far back. Brett, I don't know about you with that.
Well, I only have so much volleyball watching experience, but it's certainly something I haven't seen before. And that one clips the line by Matthews, and that is a huge spike and the score. And they are now up 3, 18-15 in favor of the Wrestlers as they looked for their 7th consecutive clean sweep here to start this ACAC season.
Yeah, and if they are able to get this done here, that'd be 21 sets won in a row, which that is just miraculous.
People's back in the game for the Trojans. Varga now on the defensive side with the stop. Matthews goes off speed. Big diving save by Inglis. Coulter goes off speed. Now Bates, that big frame, able to put it away. And the largest lead for either team now in the set, as it's now a 4-point Wrestlers lead as we enter the dying stages of this third and potentially final set.
Yeah, and you know what? If this does happen to be the final set of this game, the Trojans have a lot to like from this. They've played consistently. They've played more confidently. They're communicating better. So, you know what? If they don't necessarily get this set, there's a lot of good building blocks for their next game tomorrow.
Absolutely, and there's no time, if they do end up falling in straight sets here, there's no time, like you said, to feel sorry for yourself, because they're back at it again. Same time, same place against the Keyano Huskies tomorrow here at Rally Point.
Yeah, you got to have a short memory on that one, but obviously still take away the positives that come here. But yeah, got to have that short memory and take what we saw today. go, you know what worked for us, we're going to continue to build off that, and what didn't work for us, we're going to completely take that and throw it in the trash.
Trojans not ready to say goodnight quite yet here. Still plenty of time to get back into this third set, 19-15, but they're gonna have to put a stop to this service run that the Rustlers are on and get one of their own.
And you know what, we've seen them play with a lot of confidence so far here in this set. There's no reason to say that they can't continue to build momentum here and take this set.
Varga on serve.
And that is definitely a talking point there, is they have struggled when Varga has been there.
Inglis is denied at the net, second chance. Arnott the other way, again denied. Rustlers gonna get a chance of their own. It's Bates sending it one long, and just what the Trojans needed coming out of that timeout was a big point to get back within 3.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to get Varga off of that serve. And you know what, these last 2 times when Varga has been about to serve, they've been doing a really good job at getting her out of there quickly.
Peebles with the serve. It's gonna be Lang for Bates. Good keep. Inglis now denied at the net, but it's kept alive, and unfortunately though for the Trojans, it's gonna sail just wide.
Yeah,
Lead back up to 4.
It just bounces a little bit out, and tough situation for them. Still wanting to try to build up that momentum.
Ziatek back in the match for the Rustlers, in to serve in place of Hogue. Gets the friendly kiss off the net, and more times than not, they've been getting those bounces, and again, Coach Lamont has to call timeout. Rustlers 4 points away from the match.
Yeah, and on that one, it just really didn't look like the Trojans were ready for that one to just kiss the top of the net and slightly go over. They were looking for heat, and a softball was thrown at them, and they just weren't prepared for it.
Well, I mean, how can you be ready for something like that when it just deflects off the tape, lands in that perfect spot where literally no Trojans players are? And exactly, it's just, you know, we've said it before, they've been good and they've been lucky, and you kind of have to be both if you want to be successful in the ACAC. And the Lakeland Rustlers 4 points away from going 7-0 on the season.
Yeah, and again, going back to that, you got to be good and you have to have a luck to win 20 sets in a row. You just don't hear about that type of thing.
No, you definitely don't. And I mean, like we said, you and I, we haven't watched a lot of volleyball in our lives, but we certainly know an impressive stat when we see it. And this team, like I've said, on the redemption tour, looking for that ACAC title this season.
And going back to what you're saying there about the redemption, sometimes dealing with a loss like they did on that makes you even more dangerous the following year.
Inglis with the big point off of the timeout as she goes well off speed, tips it up and over the wall, and is able to find the open space as the Trojans cut that lead back down to 4. Leanne Arnott now, the 4th-year student on serve. Gonna need a big run from her. Lang's gonna go far side. Matthews straight into the net. 2 in a row for the Trojans, cutting the lead to 3.
Yeah, and you know what? This set has really been good. Arnett doing a great job when she's had the opportunities to serve so far here today. Or at least in this set.
Arnott now looking to build this momentum, but she sends it long. Matthews wanted to play it, but at the last second pulled her hands down, and that was the right move for the Rustlers.
Great spatial awareness there to know when you have to go for it, and perfect timing there to just go, you know what, I'm just gonna let that one sneak by me.
Yeah, great play there from the 3rd-year student from Sturgeon County, Manitoba. A couple of Manitoba players too from this Lakeland team, coming from all over the prairies. And they have put together, Coach Dyer has put together quite the team here at Lakeland. 3 points from the match now are the Rustlers on serve. It's gonna be Grayson Hay to take it.
Definitely taking her time, getting slowly set up here, trying to work it out.
The officials just having a bit of a word here. We've got Grace Florence, Jordan Wallace back into the match for SAIT, the 1st-year players looking to help keep this team alive.
Yeah, right now, you continue just to build these positives here. Not sure quite what the...
A yellow card shown to the Rustlers. I think it was to the bench. I'm not 100% sure what the call was, but either way, an infraction and a yellow card for Lakeland.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened on that one, but yellow card being shown, so clearly someone did something wrong.
Yeah, and they are going to go to, I mean, the official could have the chair umpire having more words with his secondary official here, really trying to get something figured out here.
I wonder after this long pause here, what both teams are going to look like, because volleyball, very fast-paced game. So you don't necessarily want to take too long of a rest here. And so let's see what's happening.
Crowd trying to get this Trojans team back into it. Florence leaves it behind her, but no one was there. Inglis able to just throw it over, and then it's put away by Kaylee Lewick. And we've said it all night, the miscommunication, and this time setting it behind her was Florence, and no one there from the Trojans to accept it. Inglis had to really scramble, and now the Rustlers are 2 points away from the match here, up 5. Florence goes far side for Wallace, kills it, and straight down. And that's a big point as the Trojans look to stay alive.
The Trojans might be down, but they are not out in this game for sure. Really, really good job at not allowing them to, once they get ahead, to really keep that momentum like we've seen in those first 2 sets. Really, really encouraged by the way the Trojans have been able to rebound after that unfortunate 25-8 second set.
Inglis now with the serve. Lang goes far near side. It's kept alive by Florence. Haberstock leaves it for Coulter. Easily controlled by Trumeyer, though. And Matthews denied at the net, but more scrambling defense, and it's kept alive. Meeting at the net, off the body of Ferguson, and down for a point. Coach Lamont and the Trojans players, they wanted a call. They wanted that point. I think they thought it was maybe one too many touches from the Rustlers, but either way, 5 match points now for Lakeland. 24-19, 1 away from the match. And Matthews with the big serve. Well. Far side, Coulter's denied. Great job by Florence to keep it alive. Varga now for the win, and she gets it. And it is Janae Varga getting the game-winning point once again. And this Lakeland Rustlers team is going to improve to 7-0 on the season and keep their perfect season alive with 21 consecutive sets won to start the year for Lakeland.
Yeah, what can you really say on that? That, again, like what you said, our limited time here in volleyball, but we 100% know an insane stat when we see it, and that's impressive.
The Trojans here are going to fall to 2-2 on the season. Can't blame them for falling short in this one, as they played an incredibly good team here. But we are going to send it down to our PA announcer, Ethan Montague, with the players of the game for both teams. Jana Lang gonna win player of the game. You know, you might not see her on the score sheet a lot, but everything ran through her tonight for Lakeland.
Amazing job defensively, and you know what? Defense wins championships.
And it's gonna be number 7, Emily Inglis, winning player of the game for the Trojans. She was not expecting it, clearly. She has her water bottle in her hand, and she was taking a drink when she won. And good for her, though. She played an outstanding game.
Yeah, once she started to get into the game, especially this third set, was definitely the player there on that.
Trojans going to fall to 2-2 here early on in this ACAC season, while the Lakeland Rustlers improve to a perfect 7-0. We got the second half of the back-to-back coming up at 8 o'clock, as we're going to have these very two same schools going at it. On the men's side, we're going to have the Lakeland Rustlers, your SAIT Trojans, men's volleyball action coming up at 8 o'clock on ACAC TV. We'll catch you in just a little bit.